so excited to have my dear friend of over almost a decade. I feel like, right? Almost a decade. I think so. Miss Carrie Guarrero, who is the branch manager and leader coach for Fairway Mortgage and Fairway Ignite. And she just is a fantastic human being. And beyond her professional knowledge around mortgage and money and helping people fit in a home that it not only is the place that they want to be with their families, but is also affordable within their financial picture, she's also looking at the benefits from a financial standpoint for her clients just beyond that one transaction. And so she looks at it in an even greater picture, and she looks at them. Other big piece of this wonderful human that you get the chance to hear her words today is she coaches people, and she coaches other professionals in a way that helps them to develop to do the same exact model that she has built a very successful branch on. I've gotten the ability to work with her team, and I can say her team is absolutely fantastic, and they are led by an even more fantastic human being. So Carrie, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's truly an honor to be here and to share with you. So I'm excited.
Yeah. So Carrie, tell us a little bit about if you were going in to purchase a new house, and maybe this is your first time purchasing a house, maybe this is your second time purchasing a house, what are some of those things that we should take into consideration that maybe we don't always think about?
Sure. There are a variety of things, but I think the first and foremost thing that I would talk to folks about is that it's not too early ever to prepare. And I think you could probably speak to this.
Jim and I just built our dream house, but Carrie and I have had this conversation for years now.
Yeah.
About what do we need to do, and I'm a financial planner, and this is something that I still utilize someone's expertise in the area so that I can understand exactly what would be the most beneficial for Jim and I in order to do that. And that's why I think it's so important to have partnership and people that we work with, right? We can talk all kinds of different things about what you should do from an aspect of mortgages. And if you have questions, Carrie and her team should be the people you ask. Let's talk a little bit about why is that relationship so important and what should people be looking for?
I used to believe I had to do business with everybody, right? I used to think that, hey, I need to just do loans for all of the people everywhere and everything. And the fact of the matter is, I'm not for everybody.
Yeah.
That's just real. I'd like to believe that if you come in contact with me, you're going to love me. But you know what? You might not. And if you don't, then we shouldn't do business together. Because genuinely, if you contact me, right? And I'm helping guide you toward making the largest financial decision of your life outside of opening up your own business.
Right.
For most people, their home financing is the largest debt that they will ever carry. And their home is likely, as you well know, in the world of finance, there's a whole lot wrapped up into home, right? From a heart and from a financial perspective. And so if we don't connect, if we don't jive, that's a problem. You need to feel like you're connecting with the person that's helping you to make those decisions. And if you're not, I would highly encourage you to find somebody else.
We all have choices, right? To choose the individuals that are going to support us in our vision. And instead of thinking of your finances as a transaction, thinking of it as a longstanding relationship that you have. I love the phrase, I got a guy. I'm changing that to I got a gal. Because it's so important to have somebody, right? And especially us as professionals, people constantly look to us for advice on other individuals. Can you tell everybody a little bit about what you've done throughout your career to create great relationships?
Number one, Zig Ziglar has a quote that says, "You'll get everything you want in life if you just help enough other people get what they want."
Mm-hmm.
I firmly, fundamentally believe that if we just go forth with the perspective of helping others and pouring into others, then the rest follows. So that's number one. Get out of your own head, out of your own way, and just go out and serve people. Because if you're out serving people and you're doing that the way that's near and dear to your heart, then the right people are going to be attracted to you, right? So that just goes back to who you should be doing business with. They're going to come. It's the law of attraction. Secondarily, I would say listening is probably it's probably actually the number one skill. Listening to what they want versus what I want. I'm an educator, so
Yes,
I love to teach people. So you don't come to me and hear me say, "Oh, this is what you qualify for. Go have a nice day." You come to me and you hear me ask a lot more questions than the average person might, and then explain the why behind the things that I'm going through, whatever that might be, whether that's in the coaching realm or that's in the mortgage realm, whatever. That's how that's going to roll. And I think about that from a selecting partners perspective. And when I call, I want to hear some of those same things. That's what I want I want the education. I want to understand. I don't want to just send my money off somewhere and not know. I don't need to be sold on anything.
Especially not nowadays, right? I tell people ask me, like, what should I look for in an advisor? You should look for somebody that is going to build a relationship with you for a long period of time, because your financial life is not something that is short.
Mm-mm.
It literally helps the rest of your life function, and the rest of your life helps it function, and it's all intertwined.
I think it's vital that partners if you're talking about the I got a gal, like, they need to be somebody who's going to take the time to explain to you what it is that you're doing. And I love that relationship aspect of it. I don't want to just hear from my financial advisor once a year on my birthday, calling to wish me happy birthday, and via email with updates on prospectuses and whatever, and maybe an annual review that goes through whatever. I want a little bit more.
Our industries have been at fault for many different things that have happened to larger masses of people, right? In 2008, when people were selling double mortgages and over mortgaging people's houses, they weren't educated.
Yeah.
Right? They were being sold something because, well, we live in a culture where we want something lickety split
on a beer budget. That's
yeah.
right.
And even more so now too, right? Like, I have a lot of people who come to me and are like, well, I want to do this. And I was like, are you willing to give this up to do that?
Mm-hmm.
What are some of those mistakes that maybe the average individual has made from a purchasing standpoint that could have been alleviated with a level of education?
Yeah. Number one is self-diagnosis. I think that is the first thing that pops into my mind. It saddens me, right? When I get together with somebody and I pull their credit and I look at it and I'm like, well, the credit's not exactly where you thought it was going to be, right? And they have done a lot of work and a lot of research online, and they went and took all these actions that they thought were good for them, and not so much, not so good. One of my clients the other day shot me a message, something he saw online, and I shot back, "Not true. That was just
Right.
not true." And he replied, "But I saw it on the internet, LOL." And I'm like, really legit people do that, and they think, oh, this is what I'm going to do. And unfortunately, prescription before diagnosis is malpractice. You actually have to look at an individual circumstance and be educated at a level that allows you to prescribe. And most are not equipped to do that themselves. The flip side of that is that people will disqualify themselves over and over and over again. I get on the phone with people and I'll hear, well, my sister told me to call you, or my mom told me to call you, or whatever, right? But I don't think I qualify, and this is why. And they'll tell me all the reasons why they don't qualify. And I'll go, well, let's just spend 10 minutes and have a little bit more conversation here. Right? Come to find out they absolutely qualify, but they thought they needed X amount down payment or X credit score or X job history or whatever because I read it on the internet. And I'm like, stop.
Or somebody told me at the water cooler.
Right.
There's so many different things that people feel like from a credit standpoint, I should be doing this or I should be doing that. And if I close my credit cards, it's better. Or if I do this, or, you know, if I leave balances and only pay the minimum, it's actually helping my credit. I've actually heard that before. Again, things they've probably read on the internet or somebody has told them. But that is why sitting down with somebody and having a conversation, because it doesn't cost them to sit down and have a conversation with you, right?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't cost anything. And I could throw that back at you and go, well, all right, you can throw out some generalities around finance, right? I mean, you can throw out some generalities around retirement savings and average rates of return and, you know, different products that this is safer, this is, you know, more risky, whatever. Same thing with credit. I can throw out the generalities around credit and say, hey, these are some general terms that you could abide by. But then your credit versus my credit versus, you know, Rebecca's credit versus Adam's credit, whoever we're talking to, it's like a fingerprint. It's entirely different because your history and what you've done and where you've been and how much you have is different than the next guy. And therefore the wisdom that's going to need to be imparted to you is also logically going to be different. So having a one-on-one dialogue with somebody is, I think, vital.
I mean, you hit the nail on the head, and I say it all the time too. I don't use the fingerprint. I use the DNA, like your financial picture, your goals, your risk tolerance, how your portfolio should be designed is as personal as your DNA. And so when you're searching the internet for advice, you're not getting the personal advice that you need.
We're not going to stop going to the internet. I mean, it's resolved how many of household debates. We are going to start the process there. Great. So you start doing some research there. You're looking to look. We wouldn't be doing what we're doing if the information age weren't here. We wouldn't be here on a Zoom call connecting from far apart from one another and doing what I hope is valuable to even one person. But, you know, start your process there. Start doing the research. Just don't take action based on what's there without visiting with a professional. I will absolutely do research before calling anybody about anything. That's in my makeup. I'm that way. But I'm not going to go make the decision without visiting with a professional and really having conversation about it.
Yeah. And it's okay too that even if you've been working with somebody for a long period of time and they're not fitting in that space, whether they're professional or personal, but specifically professional, you have the choice to choose who is going to be the right connection for you and who's actually going to care.
I mean, at some point in our lives, Shannon, we all have to get to the place where we go, okay, I have to do what's good for me.
Absolutely.
And it has to fit. And like you said back at the beginning, hey, that might evolve over time too. What worked 10 years ago may no longer work today because you've leveled up. And as you level up, the people around you, that board of directors, like just because I love somebody and I'm not going to delete their friendship, like that is going to remain. I'm going to still have this friendship. But if I want to continue leveling up, and if if I subscribed to the theory that I become most like the people that I spend the most time with, then who do I want to spend time with? Are they propelling me toward my goals, or are they holding me back? Right?
At the end of the day, we look at it and we have a choice to choose who to connect with and what is healthy for us or not. It is our choice. No one else has the ability. They might have an opinion about it. If you're offended by this comment, I apologize, but this is just me keeping it real. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone has them and they stink. So just like, you don't need, like, sorry if that offended anybody. Mom, if you're watching me, apologize. But like, it's so true, right? Like, everybody is going to have an opinion. Your parents are going to have an opinion about something. Your siblings, your husband, your partner, whoever it is, your friends, the grocery store clerk, everyone has an opinion, but it's what makes you feel good. And having that conversation. And I think at the end of the day, even with your partner, you have to be able to have those conversations around, who are these people that we're going to entrust into our circle if you have a partner. If you don't have a partner, then it's just you.
Right.
You get the decision to make that. Is there anything that you would like to leave the audience with who is listening to this today around how to continue to connect while building that foundation solidly from a financial and a personal standpoint?
You need to let your inner compass guide you associated with those connections. When you're in doubt, then that's something to pay attention to. It's just learned over time, right? And I suppose that really grace is also something that I think that is important for yourself and those others. I love that you said what you did about opinions. Bob Goff, who is one of my favorite authors and speakers, talks about that everybody has a microphone. And that we control who we give that microphone to, and by the way, also the volume we give them. And so in terms of making connections and building relationships, you've got to be authentically you. Be who you are. I think everybody's running around out there, a whole lot of people are anyway, and they're trying to be versions of other people. Get to who you are, be you, and then the right people are going to be attracted to you. And be really careful who you're giving that microphone to speak into your life.
Absolutely. I love what you said about leveling up. We think about that a lot of times from a personal development standpoint, but what about financially too? Like, if you want to level up from a financial standpoint, but you're glorifying that you're broke, or you're not willing to take that job or that side hustle to pay off the debt to get to the place that you want to be,
got to be willing to do the work.
You got to be willing to do the work and step in. I mean, I have been asked multiple times, how did you launch Forethought? I'm like, well, I had really aggressively set goals for myself from a financial standpoint. I saved my booty off, and then I got a side hustle, and I already made enough money that I didn't need to have a side hustle. So people are like, ooh, Shannon broke? Like,
right?
Like,
what did you do?
No, I'm fine. Right. I just want to thrive more financially. And like, it was an option for me to be able to like exercise other areas of my talents and what I like to do and explore things. And I think that sometimes we shame the fact of wanting to grow in that financial aspect. We think about it from a personal development standpoint, but like transitioning that belief into our financial lives as well.
Yeah. Our CEO is pretty phenomenal. Absolutely. He does a daily message thing to us, and I absolutely love it. Every day I pull something out of it, but there's a consistent message around naysayers because they will always be there.
Absolutely.
It is constantly there. And I don't know who I heard it from, but it cracked me up, and I've hung on to this for a while now. They said that naysayers are just confused supporters. Because, if they're out there commenting and whatever, they're clearly following you. And so they're just confused.
Also, you've made it when you have naysayers, right?
So, but everybody's got naysayers. We all do. No matter who it is. It could be the voice in our own head. Mm-hmm. But you need to figure out how to let that fuel you and acknowledge the fact that they're going to exist. So they're not part of your tribe. It's okay. Let it fuel you.
Where can people find you?
Sure. You can find me virtually any social media platform as my name or at CG Home Loan.
Fantastic. And I know Carrie does a lot of educational stuff. So if you are looking for some of that, as she said, it's a big aspect of her drive. But you can also see, like me, the personal development passion and wanting to see other people be successful as well. So thank you again, Carrie, for all that you are doing in our world and our community. It's a better place with you in it. So thank you.
It's an honor. Thank you.